Okay, most people think that marathon training is about building fitness, speed, endurance, pacing. It's not. A marathon is actually training you for life, for the hard stuff you never see coming. Marathon running is you building a mentality that can do anything. It is preparing you to do insanely difficult things, to take actions, to put in place habits that are allowing you to do hard things on a daily basis, that are going to lead you to being able to execute something that is not achievable for most people on the planet. Tomorrow is Saturday morning. Instead of waking up and running, there's no reason for you to do that. Instead, you could lie in, you're choosing to get up early, get it done, do a hard thing because you know you're planning on improving yourself. That self-growth in the future and that continuous self-growth that allows you to do ridiculously hard things like run a marathon, and not just run a marathon, but run a marathon towards your potential. It will always be the discipline and the consistency that gets you to the start line prepared and knowing that you can do something that once upon a time, not too long ago, you thought that was impossible for you. And if you're expecting it to be easy, if you're expecting the race to be easy, you're going to be unpleasantly surprised. If we're expecting it to be hard, we're pleasantly surprised until that point that we know it's hard, but we can get to the finish line, run as hard as we possibly can to the finish line, and be proud of executing what we came here to do. It's exactly the same with the training program, with the 3, 6, 12 months leading up to what you really want to achieve. And we're past that wanting, turning into motivation. It is hardwired by this point as discipline, as work ethic, as consistency. But if we're expecting there to be no curveballs, if we're expecting there to be no setbacks, you're gonna be unpleasantly surprised. And what do you do when those setbacks happen? Because that is who you really are. Anybody can be great in the perfect conditions on marathon day and execute, so long as they've done the training. Anybody can be great and run a great session when all the stars aligned and they're feeling great after the perfect sleep, no stress that week. What about when you add in the tough stuff? What about in that tune-up race 4 or 5 weeks before your marathon and it doesn't quite go to plan? Who are you in that moment? Are you somebody that starts to let the doubt creep in? I wasn't expecting that. I should have ran quicker. It should have felt easier. Or are you the type of person, okay, this is where we are right now. We got 4 weeks. We've got 3 weeks to really train at this, then to freshen up, to taper, and to go at this. And guess what? I'm getting it done because that is what I do. When the kids come home from school sick and you pick up a little bug, 4 or 5 weeks out, you got sick 1 week, 2 weeks out, all of a sudden you've got that out. You've got that, I didn't do the marathon at the pace that I wanted to do, or my target is reduced for the marathon because the children got sick, and therefore it wasn't the perfect build-up. Easy out. Or are you the person who, of course, I was expecting curveball. I was expecting that little niggle that would take me out for 1 or 2 weeks, or I'd need to adjust the training. But guess what? I'm the guy who smashes it out of the park when it's a curveball, when it's a fastball, whatever is happening, I'm going to make it happen. We're training somebody who is a problem solver on the go. That is the marathon, that is marathon training. We're training somebody with mental conditioning at the point when exponentially the perceived effort is going through the roof, and you've got that out to say, oh, I wasn't expecting these cramps at halfway or at 25K or 20 miles. I dropped a gel, or I didn't quite realize that there's going to be that hill, and therefore should I step off the road? Or are you the person who gets it done anyway? Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't set yourself up for success. We've got to set ourselves up for success. We've got to train optimally with that work ethic, consistency, and discipline. But there is a point in the training and the racing that we've got to go from the guidance, the pacing guidance, what we know we're capable of, then digging in, no matter what the circumstances, how hot it is, how humid it is, we've got to run as hard as we can to the finish. We are marathon runners. That is what we do. We get it done. Modern life has made us so soft. It is insanely easy tonight to just click on an app. Food is delivered. Your kid is screaming at you. You don't want it. It's Friday night. You could be doing anything else. And so give them an iPad. Shut them up. It's easy to do that and be cruel to their future self. And even though you know that is not the best action, it's a short-term fix. Life is now full of short-term or quick fixes that will give you that initial dopamine hit, but really doesn't satisfy you further than that short term. And what those conveniences, what that comfortable life looks like, is lack of growth. We know that to be true. And so when we sign up to run a marathon, it is because subconsciously or consciously, we want to pursue something that is not currently in our grasp, get it done, get the training done, and then feel how hard that is actually at different points in the race. And then guess what? We didn't get it right. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's do it better and let's do it again. And there's a way bigger picture here. What that is all preparing you for, the marathon, half marathons, any distance running, along with the training, which is, by the way, by far the hardest part, consistently showing up for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, when you feel like 10 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10, that is character. That is work ethic. That is the good stuff that we're looking for that prepares us not just to run the marathon, but for everything else in life. When a training session gets tough, there's no app for that to make it easier. When you hit those cramps in the marathon, and maybe there's something off on the day, extra humidity, extra heat, you weren't expecting them, there's no app for that, there's no quick fix. You've got to decide, who are you in that moment? Am I the guy that gets to the finish line no matter what, despite watching your dream time and everything you've trained for slip away? Are you gonna finish, or are you gonna step off the road and get the metro? Look at how that is preparing you for life. Look at how it is preparing your children for life, preparing them on a daily basis to watch mom or dad get out the door and do something that doesn't quite make sense to them consistently and continuously towards a race day, which is then a celebration of the city, of the place, of everything that you've worked hard for. But your little boy gets to watch you go through that, and then will understand, not now, but way in the future, why did mom or dad do that? Children do what we do. They don't do what we say, but they're watching absolutely everything that you do, and they want to be like you. We know that. About 10 days ago, life got flipped upside down for me. Nothing health related. So as a marathon runner, you know right in that moment that, do we retreat, or how do we do this? How do we do this? Not can we do this? Exactly the same as marathon training and marathon racing. We're breaking it down mile by mile, week by week, in order to make this happen, because that is who you are. That is who I am. You cannot escape your character, and you're refining that character with marathon training and marathon racing. 5 flights, hundreds of documents, having to speak to the right people and all the bureaucracy around that. Yet there was no point within it that I thought, let's take the easy option here, which would have been easy to do at any point. It's like, how do we make this happen? I can imagine that in the same situation, somebody had not gone through a tough marathon or a tough marathon build-up might have cracked under the situation. The outcome was the difference of the family staying together or the family being separated for a long period of time, months, if not years. And in that situation, as a marathon runner, you know that there's no time to complain. There's no time to blame others, to blame the system or whatever it is. It's just, how do we get this done? And of course, there are cracks on the way. As a stubborn individual, I'm trying to keep everything afloat. I'm trying to tell nobody, because I don't want to take that stress and put it onto anybody else. That is your character. That is who we are. And people are going to get pissed off with you along the way, because you're hiding what is actually going on in your life, and you're putting on a strong face. You're getting it done again. So you've not just got to execute the marathon or get your family staying together and solid. You've also got to deal with all the nonsense that's going on. You've got to zone that out as much as you can and manage it where possible. As I said, when you get to that 20-mile mark and it is more difficult than you thought it was going to be, who are you? Are you the person that gets it done anyway? Because you're not injured, you're just not going to get the result that you were after, or are you going to push forward, make it happen? You've got every excuse at that point to step off the road. You've got all those outs. And yet, when you realize what you're actually training for in the marathon, not just the race, but the entire training, as I keep saying, then you get to that point, there is no option. The only option is, how do we get there? How do we make this happen? And in a world of convenience, of comfort, and we know that we grow the most outside our comfort zone, There is something beautiful about that, something magic about it. And as soon as you realize that it's actually nothing to do with your time and everything to do with building that person who can handle everything and at the same time blames nobody, just gets it done, then I promise you it's extremely freeing and it puts you in a position where anything is possible. Anything is achievable that you put your mind to. Thank you to everybody in this last 7 to 10 days who has been patient, who's been waiting on things from me, waiting on videos to be uploaded, waiting on shorts and all those different things that come with YouTube and coaching and hasn't received. I really, really, really appreciate it.